speed. Then salvage my basic attack damage. So, Cursed Hollow will be the second pick here. Will also be a Ballistix pick. So this means that Ballistix is going down the route that former MVP Black, KSP Black would go down in drafting to take Sky Temple to try to take that early snowbally lead, win a dominant game, then go to a macro map. Sometimes Ballistix, rather than Black, would pick Dragonshire in this moment after a Sky Temple start, but let's see how high Greymane goes here. Abathur has been kind of a must-ban on this map in Korea, but it's trying to hint at something, and I think hinting at a first pick Greymane this time. They picked him in second rotation last game, but I wonder what if, like, another strategy here for Ballistix would simply be to do the exact same thing they did previously, and leave the Greymane to them, draft the Uther Hanzo, maybe ban a Genji here. Alternatively, they could ban the Greymane and then force BlossoM into a funky situation. I don't think BlossoM is going to look to pick the Anub'arak again. That was specifically for the invades of the Siege Giant camps on Sky Temple, and we'll ban the Sonya. That's quite interesting.
They're opening up both Shimada brothers, leaving Genji and Hanzo. I think, honestly, Hanzo is a better pick on this map for sure, because you will very likely to lose Uther if you pick Genji. And they do have... Ooh, interesting.
So they're going to pick Genji into an Uther. I think maybe... Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've been thinking about this a lot, especially after, you know, Rally Jaffa, when he was casting on site, was talking to you about the win rates of Uther over Genji and things like that in Korea. I almost feel like the safer pick here is actually the first pick Uther. You've then taken Uther away from Greymane. You're also you're forcing your opponent to pick Genji into an Uther, which has a 0% win rate currently in Korea, with, like, I think 7 games played now. It's like not a, it's 0-7. It's quite a stat, right? Uther just shuts down Genji plays so hard, and now you've given a great combo and the best DPS currently that's you know, high priority to Ballistix. And what's the play here now for BlossoM? I don't see a strong rotation in draft for them. Nothing is sticking out to me. The only hero you can use to empower Genji in order to make his Dragon Blades impervious is Tyrael's Sanctification. When I pick that this early in the draft, you certainly do not. This is it's a mess. I think they've been outsmarted by Ballistix with this Sonya ban. And maybe now they just try to control the soul lane, grab a Dahaka or something like that.
I think that's the direction they want to go towards. Exactly as you called it, Dahaka picked and a solid answer. Gondar's Garrosh, but they're going to lose that Sonya to initiate the fight. As Genji, you really need to have that energy, all that HP down on the other side to pick up kills with that Dragon Blade. Banning Lucio, of course, has a win rate, 0% win rate right now, 0-9 in Korea, but still a very good hero when you're pairing up with something like, they need something like Sanctification. They don't have a Tyrael, so basically their answer was Lucio. That's been banned out. What are they going to do next?
Well, they're going to abandon the Anub'arak, but I feel like in this situation, Dahaka is going to run into kind of an awkward solo lane matchup. It might be the Leoric again. Anub'arak considered to kind of be the best tank right now. He has the highest win rate. But Ballistix can just pick Uther, or sorry, not Uther, Burden. They can pick ETC, which they picked in the previous map. And they're in a pretty good spot in terms of open tank. So banning the Anub'arak is almost suspicious as to what they might want to run in terms of support. Excuse me. A little bit sick, making my voice crack. Going through puberty again, G-Clef. Never thought it happened to me. But,
how old are you now?
27.
Time for a puberty, Wolf.
So this is kind of an odd rotation for Ballistix because you're really looking at solo matchup. You're like, who do I want to face off against? Dahaka. Do we pick the Leoric again? Okay, Tyrael.
Away.
So now you have nothing to empower Genji. Like, Ancestral is worthless when it comes to Dragon Blades. You can kind of keep Genji alive for like 1 more second, but his health pool is so small anyways, you have to time it perfectly, and Nasong had one failed Ancestral previous on the previous set, and a second Ancestral that just barely hit, which was not like a clutch Ancestral. Really, like, wow, that was nicely timed. It was like, ooh, that was really close. You know, like probably should have hit that one a little bit earlier. The Tyrael pick here also means that theoretically they can have Tyrael as their solo tank and run a Malthael now. Like, the world is Ballistix's oyster. Like, imagine a Divine Shielded Malthael coming through against this comp that runs Garrosh, burning through the tanky top laner of Tahaka, and then suddenly Tyrael just sanks on top of everything. Genji can't do any damage with his Dragon Blade.
Nice.
No one can stop him. He gets stunned by Uther. Rhaegar is a weak pick here, and it's not going to help Zeratul either.
So basically they're going all in on single target, but is that the right choice against Uther and Tyrael on the other side? I'm having lots of doubts. Even though with the CC, Uther does have cleanse, and Tyrael, of course, will have help later on after 10.
I think BlossoM played into Ballistix's hands the moment they locked Genji in first.
Yes.
Genji has an insanely high involvement rate worldwide, but this does not mean that he is always first pick material in every scenario. And if you cannot draft a draft that will make Genji, that will empower Genji, Genji himself alone is not a broken hero. He needs a comp that can actually support him, and this comp is not that comp. The Zeratul pick is going to be worthless, I feel, as well, because in terms of team fighting, even if he goes for you know, his cooldown reset heroic, he's not going to have the ability to realistically kill the backline with heroes like Uther and Tyrael there for protection.
And Ballistix, the 4 picks look so good. Even a Rexar seems like an okay one. Here comes the
Blaze.
very first Blaze of HGC.
All right, so the big question is, will Blaze be the solo laner, or will it be Tyrael? Tyrael historically has been the solo laner in situations like this, with a very, very tanky 2-tank lineup like this. So it's not Tyrael rework, by the way. We should call that out. But Blaze has really strong wave clear, and against the Tahaka, you know, he can compete up that in that lane with his oil slicks burning the minions and things like that. And we'll see what build he goes for as well. I'm very excited about this first game. First game of Blaze worldwide, ladies and gentlemen, is happening here in HGC Korea. Very suspicious and unusual draft coming through from BlossoM, but I think they got out-drafted, they got outsmarted by the counters to a hero that was first picked here, showing perhaps a lack of understanding of how Genji should be played in this meta, G-Clef. And, you know, I feel this reminds me of when, remember when Illidan was first picked in like 2015, early 2016, like every game for a while?
Yes.
And then eventually everyone was like,
every game.
It was like if you left Illidan open, he was always first picked because everyone was like, he's so busted. And then everyone realized, well, he's only busted if you can actually have the right heroes to support him. Otherwise, he just gets countered.
Lily for the blind.
I mean, I feel like this is a really similar situation, and Ballistix saw through this like so easily, so quickly. Hooligan will be playing the Tyrael, so Blaze will actually be the solo top laner. That is going to be how this is played. So it'll be Junga up there to show us his stuff on this hero, and kind of how I play oftentimes if I end up with 2 tanks with this hero. It does work for me because of the wave clear. Like, I like it a lot. It's not ideal, but it's a good situation for Ballistix at the moment.
And I think there are still lots of builds for Blaze. Some people like to go for the oil. Some people like to go for the unstoppable at 1. Depends on how you want to play the hero. Of course, he will be getting tons of damage, but the good thing is that you can actually sustain yourself with that fire.
Yeah, he did have to pop his trait, so that was a win regardless for BlossoM. That's on a very long cooldown. So that was a nice move by them to actually attempt that gank. Obviously, Blaze has a somewhat reliable escape, however, it can be blocked by high mobility heroes like Genji. So what you can do in a gank attempt like this, if you're a Genji player, is intentionally stand and use your dash to block the path where he would dash away. He will stun you, so make sure you don't do it into the towers, because he could turn things around on you. But you can actually dive in front of where he would charge to prevent his charge from sending him very far. That was the idea oftentimes with ganks like this. That's what Genji was trying to do there. Zeratul gives him fast camp clear, but like, so does Greymane. So the Zeratul still hasn't provided anything for BlossoM in terms of this draft right now. And can you imagine a world where Zeratul tries to get the backline, gets stunned by Uther, gets stunned by Blaze? I don't know, man. Let's see what happens. I want to believe in this draft, but so far, I can't.
Let's see. Modern really has to, of course, a proven good Zero tool, not after rework, but before the rework, he was a really good Zero tool. Of course, with the void freeze and angles, oftentimes carried the team fights sometimes. But this time, he really has to work it in. Really going around the map, taking all that EXP by himself, or trying to have some damage as he will try to look for the kill, at least to bring a member down to low HP.
Big rotation coming down here for SC, looking for this push through. Great grab onto him though, and this is before 7. Uther does not have cleanse. There's a pick. Might be a trade. Shields coming through from Hooligan to make sure everyone can take those turret shots.
Well, Deaka had an early wave push, so Blaze is having that moment to clear the extra wave. But there was a 4v5. If it's a 1v1 trade, where Deaka also had to use the Brush Tucker, of course he's back already. Oh, he's down all the way already. But if they just become a trade, and if they lose any more members, that's going to be a problem.
I think it is the adhesive at 4 for Blaze, so slows on oil. Both icons are the same, so
yeah,
I can't tell you
exactly
for sure.
The same.
But it looked like we got the slows there. Try to confirm that for you guys.
Yeah, one's a slow, one's larger area of the oil spill. I like both. I like the slow better sometimes.
I think the slow is really good against a comp that's so kind of dive heavy. It can slow Garrosh from escaping, slow the Genji, the Zeratul.
Blaze can also be a good counter, depending on 13 talent. If you want to, if there's like a Vala on the other side, then you can actually have the attack speed nerfed. Or if there's a spell, you can actually change the talent and have that as a spell damage. Damage nerf. So it's a very good tool to have that against a specific team comp on the other side.
Yeah, Blaze, the cool thing is Blaze offers a lot of versatility in terms of his talents. He took the cooldown reduction and the mana at level 1, so it doesn't have that extra shield that a lot of pro gamers are preferring right now, because it's so easy to kind of body block his escape, especially if he goes in for initiation. If he goes for his trait, getting heals at 16 too, there's a lot you can do to kind of stay alive. But we'll be going for the cooldown reduction instead, so he's going to have more oil slicks in these fights, more healing for himself in that way. As we do see pings coming through, Dahaka, being the global hero he is, will continue to soak top. Heavily aggressed is Ballistix right now as they need to go in deep. They need to actually minimize the time taken to grab this. Clayton is coming through here onto Hooligan, but he's still very low. Modern Life forced to retreat here though, and look at this fight now. Zeratul again just not able to do anything if he can't get a pick.
Wiz was boring, but in that time, Rehgar was taking so much damage. This is the thing, when they're fighting in that small choke point, all the scattered arrow damage, and they're picking off Garrosh again, and even Modern.
I don't even know why this happened like this. Like, I think Modern Life getting greedy there, trying to maybe delay the tribute a little bit further. This is literally the worst case scenario for BlossoM, because they didn't get the extra soak in top because Dahaka came down. I think Zeratul was hoping he was going to get the pick onto Hooligan there, so dove in and committed the second, the talent's removed, but it's like his trait now, like his, second Vorpal Blade. So he was able to come in a second time, wasn't able to get the kill. And that meant that he was like stuck in the middle there, came out finally with like almost no health. And it just shows again, sure, this is pre-10, but like Zeratul's worth in this comp, it feels very weak. It feels very like unnecessary to pick a Zeratul here. This double melee Zeratul has not won for anybody yet in Korea.
Oh, let's see, they're going for the Dragon Strike. As it seems like Ballistix, their entire theme is let's fight in the small choke points, really, right next to the boss, right next to the tribute, even taking the bunker. I don't know why he used it.
Just for safety there.
Just for the casters to explain what it's about.
I guess so. He's like, next game when I pick Blaze,
it's like only 30 seconds cooldown, so it's okay.
I mean, I guess if he wanted to really use it there, he probably would have wanted to place it on top of the boss pit itself, but I really get the boss, they double boss. This is the dream. Like, this is only, like, really Ballistix, formerly L5, and KSP Black, formerly MVP Black, been able to make this work so systematically every time they play on this map against teams that they are just simply better than in terms of mechanics. Just rotate faster, win a team fight, double boss into curse. Like, you could not, like, this situation could not be worse for BlossoM.
It is,
like, tell me how it could be worse. It can't be worse.
Like, it is the best for Ballistix. It can't be better than this.
I guess like maybe a stray arrow could have hit Dahaka there, prevent his Hearth home, and he could have died. That would make it worse. Jungle was trying to flank him, you could see. They were like, literally they picked double melee with a Genji comp into a Tyrael that has Sank. This situation, like the game was almost like lost for BlossoM, I feel, in the draft, and like, I don't know, guys. It's messy. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This game is not going the way BlossoM wanted it to, and I think they knew from the start that when they spawned that it might go away from them.
With everything that you said, really the draft has been working not well for BlossoM. The pokes are crazy from SDE. Blaze has been doing damage and soaking all the time. Wiz joins the fight for no reason. He can just tank some damage, getting that stun from the jet propulsion. Void Prison actually locked in.
Yeah. But Sank comes to try to make sure that, like, no matter what, this doesn't actually do anything.
It's just the trade team, and with Void Prison, Zeratul can actually not get the kill because he will do a lot less damage now.
Okay, they're going to use this bunker to actually commit here heavily to this core. Again, Ancestral barely hits, but Nasong gets out. Regardless, though, bunker, boss on core, huge taunt, but for what?
Dragon Strike to make it cool.
It looks cool. Style points here.
That's all, but the boss is still way too healthy, and the core is going down, and that's going to be game 2.
So probably frustrated is SDE that he didn't get to show the Dragon Blade that SC showed. He actually died there at the end as well, but that game was messy. It was a draft problem, like through and through. The draft in game 1 was intelligent and had a strong plan behind it. But when the Sonya ban came down and they still took the Genji and like left the Uther, I was like, well, let's see how you draft your way out of this one, BlossoM. And they simply did not. The Zeratul pick, this is the, I think, 3rd time we've seen Zeratul as a second DPS, not even as the sole laner, trying to roam and hit the backline. I think a lot of teams think that, this is my personal take on it, because you know, when you play in Hero League in Korea, like you could hit anyone. You could hit like Rally Jaffa's like Grandmaster, right? But I think for a lot of people, they think, well, that Hanzo player is pretty good, he's a strong hero, but like Zeratul, like can get him, he's got no escapes, and like they think that Zeratul is the way to beat Hanzo, but they forget to realize, I think, that there's an Uther there who can stun the Zeratul when he comes through. There's a Tyrael there. There's extra burst healing coming from the Uther. There's the shielding coming from the Tyrael, and getting the backline in team fights with the Zeratul just simply, I think, was destined to fail, and we saw exactly that occur.
I think they needed something else, not Zeratul. Maybe even a Falstad could have done okay, at least a little bit better than what Zeratul had there. Void Prison locked in for, I don't know, maybe just to freeze up the core for the last moment. Maybe they were really desperate at the last second.
I mean, they could have tried to use the taunt combo, like you know, with the Void Prison there, I guess, to make something happen there. But
Tyrael was already out of there and had the Sanctification ready because he knew that the Fury was coming.
With the draft on the other side, like I feel like X Strike might have been a better pick than Dragon Blade with like the comp that they were facing off against.
Yeah, that was Strike for the escape.
Yeah, I mean, this was just an outdrafting on its highest level on one of Ballistix's best maps, where they had a camp control. They got the Dream second tribute into level 10 double boss into Curse. Like, what are you supposed to do? The game ended like after that team fight, before the Curse started, before the first boss was taken. Like, the game was actually already over. So I think for going forward here, during this commercial break we're about to take, I think right now BlossoM is just going to have to rethink this drafting, because it's not looking good what we just saw in Game 2. But before we go to that third and potentially final game of the series, we're going to take a break. See you then.